The Louie T Network is powered by MusicHead University. MusicHeads, classes in session. Turn me up. Enroll on YouTube now. Link is in the description.
Who else could it be but me, your man, Louie T? Welcome to the Command Post Live. You know what it is. Post up. Take command. I, of course, am your Commander-in-Chief, Louie T. Thank you for joining me. Whew. If y'all knew what I had to do to get to this stream tonight, good grief. The devil was working tonight, but I wouldn't let him win. Lots to get to tonight. Obviously, the 53-man roster has been set. I do not think it's crystallized by any stretch of the imagination. We will talk about that and then some tonight. We got the practice squad. This is one of the worst practice squad situations I've seen in a while. Like, I don't know how to call this one. I don't really know what they're going to do. I almost don't even want to touch the practice squad tonight, to be honest with you. It's so convoluted. It could go in so many different directions. I almost don't want to touch it. And the depth was so bad this year, right? The ass whoopings, belt to ass that we took in the preseason because the depth on this roster just didn't exist. I don't even know if there's 16 guys I would like for them to bring back. I can't speak for you. I don't even know if there's 16 guys that I'm like, yeah, no, he's okay. Maybe a little bit more seasoning and he'll be fine. I don't even know if there's 16 guys. So I'm kind of perplexed as to what they're going to do there. I don't even know if the guys that are actually going to make up the practice squad were here, right? Like, there may be, 6 to 8 guys that I feel like are worthy of coming back, but the other 6 to 8 guys, I'm just like, bro, I mean, I guess if that's what you want to do, you can, but I wouldn't. So we'll talk about that briefly tonight, but we are going to start with our guy. First of all, did you guys get a chance to watch the video they put out? The team put out a video. If you don't know, Terry McLaurin, our guy, back in the building to sign his contract today. All smiles. We'll take a look at some of the photos here in a second. They put out a video. It gave me chills. It's part of the reason why I just couldn't understand why this took so long. And then, all these people talk about, oh, there's irreparable damage being done to Terry and to this organization and their relationship and this, that, and the third. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think that's the case. Look at our guy. Watching him grow up through the years. Look at that. That's a dope picture, by the way. He's smiling again. Look at our guys. Hey, look at our 2 guys. Come on. Fractured relationships, burned bridges, irreparable damage. Come on. Who you kidding? No hard feelings. This is how negotiations work, people. It's all love. Once you see the contract and that money hits your account, it's all love. Smile. What's there to be upset about? Look at our guy. He's smiling again. Don't you just love it? Huh? We missed that smile. All we got was the scowl at practice, the hoodie over the head. He's smiling again. He's back. Our guy is back. And I'll tell you what he's also brought back. Or maybe not. Somebody's got a new barber. Huh? New money? New contract? New barber? New edge up? Huh? Maybe a new record season. on deck. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. I'm just basking in the glow of our stuff being returned to us the way that it should have been about 2 months ago. But who's keeping count? Who's keeping score anymore? What's done is done. Our guy is back, and that's what matters. Good to see T-Mac back in the building. Scary Terry embarking upon scary season number 7. Everybody's got hell to pay for him having to wait so long to get his money. And all the crazy shit that was said in the wake of him waiting to get his money. Anyhow, we go from Terry, who will speak to the media tomorrow, by the way. So it'll be good to hear from him. He'll talk about no hard feelings. It's a business. You'll hear all the cliche shit that you're supposed to hear after a guy gets paid. As we put this to bed, close the chapter of the McLaurin versus Peters, standoff behind us, and get back to football and get back to business. But let's talk about the 53-man roster, shall we? A couple of takes here on this roster and what I think is going to transpire. Ultimately, I think for the most part, I think we nailed much of the I think we nailed most of the roster. But there were some surprises. So let's get to them. All right. I guess we can just have the whole thing here. All right. Normally I introduce it, in tiers. I don't really know if I need to do it. I guess I'll do it. Why not? Right. I see a lot of y'all talking about Rick Snyder. He's been a long time Skins fan. Reported on the team for a very long time. I think he's even written some books. His catchphrase was, just give me a second or give me a minute, one of the two. I'll say this, wasn't the biggest Rick Snyder fan. We didn't always see eye to eye, but he's family. And as I've always told you, if you're family, then we always extend an open arm and a warm welcome. And in this case, we send you off with a warm goodbye. So my condolences go out to the Snyder family for their loss. It was sudden. Hopefully they do something big for him this year. Hopefully they do something big for Snyder this year. A different Snyder, that is, right? So we go to the 53-man roster. And the biggest one, I think there were 2 surprises on the 53-man roster. That is it. This is the closest I've come to getting all 53. I had 51 out of the 53 guys that made the roster. Prior to this, my closest was 49. And I'm kicking myself because I would have never gotten all of these right, because Josh Johnson, in no way, shape, or form, I could have done this thing 75 million ways. Josh Johnson never would have been on my roster, not one time. So I would have never gotten all 53 of these right. But I could have gotten 52. If I had some balls, if I grew a pair, I would have had 52 out of the 53. Josh Johnson is the one outlier of this group. Jaden Daniels, Marcus Mariota, Josh Johnson is the 3 guys that they have on the roster right now at the quarterback position. I look at Josh Johnson as a placeholder. Earlier today on social media, I called him a bookmark. Just a guy to hold a roster spot available for someone else to take down the road. He won't be here very long. Don't get comfortable with Josh Johnson being on this roster because he won't be here. Whether they keep a third quarterback or not is debatable. I don't think Josh Johnson's going to be it. Just like Jeff Driscoll started out on the roster last year, he didn't end the season on the roster as the third quarterback. So we'll see. I don't expect Josh Johnson to be here much longer. I'll just say that. Running backs. I think everybody nailed this one. Once they traded B-Rob, it became abundantly clear what was going to take place. Bill, Eck, McNick, and C-Rod were going to be your 4 running backs. The only guy that was in question here was C-Rod. And I think we got our answer with the way they used him in the final preseason game, which I don't think anybody really questioned whether he was going to make it. But I think the man got all of 1 carry in that final preseason game, maybe 2. Had a nice big run. He tripped over his own feet, fell down, and they took him out, and that was it for him. He's on the roster, basically. So, Eck, I don't think played a single snap in the preseason. I don't blame them for that. McNick didn't play a ton of offensive reps. They already know what he is. Rodriguez played a ton in the Cincinnati. Well, I shouldn't say a ton. He played his most snaps in the Cincinnati game and made the most of them. And and Bill basically showcased what he could do. That's a good running back room. We'll see how they deploy them. I'm still interested to see. Not that it matters. This is some shit that fans talk about. This is not a real thing. But I'm interested to see in week 1, when they come out on offense for the first time, who's in the backfield. My money's on Austin Eckler. They seem like they would do some real bullshit where instead of them declaring who the RB1 is, let's just put Eck out there. You know? I think it's going to be Bill. Ultimately, that's your RB1, but I can see them having Eck out there to start the season off. And I wouldn't be shocked if somebody like, again, C-Rod, it feels like all 4 of these guys are going to be active on game days. But if someone weren't, I think it would be C-Rod. I don't think it would be Bill. I mean, I heard there was a rumor. I didn't see it. Somebody said there was a rumor that Keim hinted at the fact that Bill could be inactive week 1. I don't believe it. I think that's cap. I haven't seen it. I didn't go looking for it because to me, it doesn't exist. That's cap. We move on to number 5. Or excuse me, to wide receiver. And it's 5. And to me, this was another easy one to decipher. Just like quarterback, which I was shocked they decided to go with 3, nobody stepped up to establish themselves as wide receiver 6. So there was no need to keep a 6th receiver. I heard some people saying, what about Ja'Cory Brooks? You can get him on the practice squad. You don't need him to be on your 53-man roster. He can be on the practice squad. There was even some out there vouching for Tay Martin. Tay Martin did well in the preseason, and he's allowed to come back if they want to have him on the practice squad. I'd be more than happy to have him back on the practice squad. I like what I saw from him. Not enough to put him on the active roster, though. He doesn't need to be on a 53-man roster. None of the veterans stepped up. Not Michael Gallup, not Chris Moore, not KJ Osborne. None of those dudes stepped up. It was 5 guys. It was always 5 guys. And I think we figured that out after the first preseason game. It's 5 dudes. That's it. Terry McLaurin, Deebo Samuel, Noah Brown, Jalen Lane, Luke McCaffrey. That's it. And some of y'all don't even want Luke around, which I still think you guys are a little bit hard on Luke. But I get it. He's a third-round pick. This is what happens when you potentially overdraft someone. You put undue expectations on them. They don't meet them fast enough. This is what happens. I get it. If they would have drafted Luke in the 5th round, you'd be a lot more receptive to him having, a slow start to his career, et cetera, et cetera. But they spent a 3rd-round pick on him. They spent a day 2 pick on him. So I get it. I get it. I get it. Tight end, to me, was the easiest position to diagnose. That and corner were the two where you're just like, okay, we already know what they're going to do at those 2 positions. And safety felt that way as well, right? Safety, corner, and tight end were the 3 lock positions where you're like, I know they're keeping 4 tight ends. Like, I was shocked when Rio at the live event said that Colson Yankoff wasn't on his final 53-man roster. I'm like, what are you talking about, dude? There's no way Colson Yankoff isn't on this roster. First of all, he went to UCLA. If Kaz Allen can stay around for 16 years, being as ass as one can be and still be employed by an NFL team, trust me, Colson Yankoff going to UCLA matters. You don't think Ale Cajo going to UCLA got him an opportunity here that he made the most of? You're a damn lie if you don't think that had anything to do with it. It's the same reason that the Baltimore Ravens used to take 16 Alabama players every year. Why? Because Ozzie Newsome was an alum of Alabama, and he loved taking Alabama players because he knew about those players. He had intel on those players, and that's his alma mater. Same thing here. It's not a coincidence that there were like 17 UCLA players on the 90-man roster. That's not a coincidence. Colson Yankoff, for the 2nd year in a row, an undrafted UCLA Bruin makes this roster. You think that's a coincidence? I'm here to tell you, it's not. Now, Yankoff earned his way on the roster last year, proved his worth on special teams. He showed he could catch the ball and run on Saturday afternoon against the Ravens. Show a little athleticism, which we know he possesses. A little run after catch. This was an easy group to assess. Really don't need to spend a lot of time on it. Ertz, Bates, Sennett, Yankoff. 4, you knew it. And that's the group. This was an interesting group. But I nailed it. Now, I will say, I nailed it, but I just got to do this real quick since we're on the subject matter. Wow, 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 wow. The Washington Commanders have made the following roster moves. We placed guard Sam Cosmi on the reserve physically unable to perform list. Okay. I was wrong. I was rooting for this to happen. I was all in for week 1, but I knew he wasn't going to be ready week 1. But I thought he'd be back for week 3. I was wrong about it. I was adamant too. I was like, he's going to be, I guaranteed he was going to be active when this season kicked off. I don't want them rushing him at all. I want him fully healthy. I don't want any setbacks. So they're doing the right thing by Sam Cosmi. Me selfishly just wanted him to be back. It was unrealistic, probably, but they kept telling me he's hitting all his markers. He's probably ahead of schedule, this, that, and the third. I just wanted to believe what I wanted to believe, which is Sam Cosmi can return to action faster than you think. Well, that was not the case. And I'm sad. I'm sad. But what they effectively did was they opened up another roster spot by doing that, because Cosmi was going to give you 10 offensive linemen. Instead, there's only 9 now, right? So in effect, Cosmi not being on the opening day 53-man roster allowed them to do one of two things. You could dice it up however you want. It allowed them to keep Josh Johnson as a third quarterback, or it allowed Ale Cajo to make this roster at the linebacker position. You choose whichever one makes you sleep better at night. But ultimately, these 9 guys, I nailed all 9 of them, and I had Cosmi as my 10th because I thought he was going to be off the PUP list and on this roster. Laramie Tunzel, Brandon Coleman, Tyler Biadasz, Nick Allegretti, Andrew Wiley, Josh Connolly Jr., Chris Paul, Trent Scott, and George Fant. I told you guys, they didn't just sign. Like, Rio asked me, he was like, you don't think they signing Nick Harris to be a center on this team? Hell no. Nick Harris is buns. George Fant is a legitimate swing tackle in this league. He's the new Cornelius Lucas for all intents and purposes. A veteran that is fully capable of playing both left and right tackle in a pinch. And you feel comfortable, not confident, but comfortable with him being out there if he's pressed into action. I actually feel better about him than I do Andrew Wiley, but Wiley has given me confidence over the last year and a half or so with his ability to be out there. You're going to have to chip every now and again, and probably going to have to do the same thing for George Fant. But the difference with Wiley is Wiley going to put somebody dick in the dirt in the run game. Wiley's going to put somebody's dick in the dirt. But Fant, I told you, was going to be here. They didn't just sign him just to show up and then go away after being here for a week and a half. They did that with Nick Harris because they needed somebody to play that Ravens game. And I told Rio that. I said, Fant is here to stay. Do you see? There's a name that is, it's visibly and audibly loud in its absence. Can you find that name or the absence of that name? Oh, happy day. Oh, happy day. No, Michael, thank you for making me right, Jaden Dieter. I told you he wasn't making the roster because Nick Allegretti could play center. What killed him, it wasn't the fact that Nick Allegretti could play center. What ultimately did him in was George Fant chose us. George Fant had opportunities to go to 3 different teams. He worked out here. He did not sign, if you recall, after he worked out here. He went and visited 2 other teams. And at least one of those teams offered him, so did the Commanders. He chose here. So in effect, George Fant coming in here allows Trent Scott to be just a guard now, just an interior offensive lineman. And that also allows Nick Allegretti to be able to play center if need be, because you have Trent Scott going inside. So, in effect, George Fant made your guy, Michael, thank you for making me right, Jaden Dieter, expendable. Shout out to George Fant for that. He'll always be one of my favorites because of it. So, 25 guys on the offensive side. What did I tell y'all the number was? 25 on offense, 25 on defense, 3 on special teams. I told you, I had this was an easy roster to dissect. I'm shocked by Josh Johnson being here and Cosmi not being on the 53 because he's on the pup are two things that I didn't get right here. And I didn't have Ale Cajo, and I didn't have the balls to put Ale Cajo on the roster. So I guess technically speaking, I had 50 out of 53, not 51, technically, because I had Cosmi on the roster too. But if you take him off, I had 9 offensive linemen. But that's not the case. That's not true because I did have 10 offensive linemen, and I had 2 quarterbacks. So it would have still been 25 on the offensive side. So it's still a career high for me, 50 out of 53. So you go now to the defensive side of the football. And you start with the defensive line. And this is where I bitched up at. And in looking back, I really feel small, really small, because I made my list of the defensive side of the football, and I got to 9 guys, and I had 1 roster spot left, and I had filled out the entire roster, and I only had 52 players, and I'm like, well, shit, what am I gonna do with this last roster spot? And my heart was like, bro, get that shit to Ale Cajo. What you waiting on? And I was like, he's not making a roster, bro, and you know it. I should have thought about him going to UCLA. I should have thought about that shit. If I did, I would have been like, man, put his ass on the goddamn roster. But that slipped my mind for a second. I just like, they can get him on the practice squad. They don't have to do that. So I forced another defensive lineman, Jalen Holmes, onto the roster that I knew wasn't going to make this team. You know what's a dead giveaway for a guy that's about to be cut? You know what a dead giveaway is? You get to the last preseason, and they got that dude emptying the tank in the 3rd and 4th quarter. That's a dead giveaway of that guy's not safe. That guy is not safe, okay? Cleveland Farrell was still in the game late stages of the 3rd, early 4th in that final preseason game, which he should have been. He stinks, okay? He stinks. And I told y'all after last year, I don't want Clee back. I was actually disappointed when they brought him back, but I said, hey, the more the merrier, right? Bring him back. Good guy. He's going to impact the locker room positively, but he can't stay here. Got nothing but love for what Clee helped do last season. He's a culture builder. He helped build the culture last year. Your job is done here. Mission accomplished. You can go, and you can go and leave with your head held high. I came and I played for the hometown team, the team I grew up rooting for. He could have left with his head high. They didn't have to come back for a sequel that was awful. And now you left a sour taste in our mouth as to how we feel about that movie franchise. You didn't have to do a number 2. I was good with Coming to America. I didn't need Coming to America 2. I was good with just Coming to America. I didn't need a second one. And the second one wasn't awful. You just couldn't live up to the first one. Just leave it alone. That's how I felt about Clee playing here last year. You did what you were supposed to do. Leave it alone. But they brought it back. And I was like, he can't stay here. And he didn't. And I said, I like Jalen Holmes, but liking someone and putting them on the roster, 2 different things. But I had an extra roster spot, and I bitched up. But they did the same shit they did last year. We do this technical bullshit. The official technical term is semantics. They listed Von Miller as a linebacker. Remember, they did the same dumbass shit with Dante Fowler Jr. last year. Von Miller is a defensive lineman. He's an edge rusher. If Jacob Martin is a defensive lineman and an edge rusher, then what the hell is Von Miller? Come on, man. Let's stop playing these games. So they had eight defensive linemen and 7 linebackers. Bullshit. I'm not counting him as a linebacker. Von Miller is a defensive lineman. So we're going with 9 on the D-line. Again, it's semantics. It doesn't matter. It's still 25 on the defensive side of football. But it matters to me. Shit, he matters to me. Dorrance Armstrong, Dietrich Wise, Jacob Martin, Javonte John Baptiste, and Von Miller are your 5 edge rushers. 4 defensive tackles, Deron Payne, Johnny Newton, Javon Kinlaw, and Eddie Goldman round out the defensive line. On to the linebackers. 6. Bobby Wagner, Frankie Louvu, Jordan McGee, Kay Madrano, Nick Ballore. We knew those 5 were making a roster. Ale Cajo was a guy that I told you about after that 3rd preseason game. I said, if you asked me right now, and I said this to you guys, you remember, you have to play someone at the linebacker position right now that's not named Bobby Wagner or Frankie Louvu or Jordan McGee, because you know I believe in Jordan McGee. Contrary to those of you who are frustrated with his injury history here in Washington, I still believe in Jordan McGee. And you can't tell me that in those, 10 to 15 plays Jordan McGee was on the field, he didn't look good. Damn it, he looked good. All right. That said, I said, after those 3, you asked me, who do I trust on the field? I told you, give me the undrafted kid out of UCLA, Ale Cajo. Well, apparently they agreed with that sentiment. I asked this at the watch party. I said, hey, how y'all feel about Ale Cajo? The place erupted. A lot of people recognize that Ale Cajo was out here putting in work. So, shout out to Ale Cajo for making the roster as an undrafted free agent rookie linebacker. He deserved to make this football team. He did. Those last 2 preseason games, he was so good in those 2 games. So consistent. There's a level of trust that you have when you got a guy that's assignment and detail oriented, where he's supposed to be, when he's supposed to be there. He gets guys on the ground. I like him a lot, and I think he can continue to grow. Remember, this was a guy that was recruited to Alabama. You forget that very easily because of how many years of football he missed due to injury. You forget that this guy, once upon a time, was a highly recruited athlete coming out of high school. We saw a little bit of that. We saw a little bit of that in the preseason. Shout out to Ale Cajo. 6 linebackers. So you get the next 2 positions. We just put these together. These were status quo. We knew we were getting 5 corners. We knew we were getting 5 safeties. Marshawn Lattimore, Trey Amos, Jonathan Jones, Mikey Samer, still Noah Igbenogany. Put a pin in Noah. We'll come back to him in a second. And then at the safety position, Quan Martin, Will Harris, Percy Butler, Jeremy Reeves, and Tyler Owens to round out the entire DB room. So you knew you had 10. You knew where it was 5 and 5. You knew what the 10 guys were. This really felt this felt anticlimactic, right? Again, we kind of knew the entire roster already. This was one of the easiest, I think, roster assembling of the rosters that I've ever done. This is one of the easiest 53-man rosters I had to put together. It wasn't a lot of competition. There weren't a lot of battle. And it was reflected in the ass whoopings that we took in the preseason. There just wasn't a lot after our starters, after our core guys. It just wasn't a lot. So let's go back to the cornerback position for a second. Did you guys see the Diana Rossini report that Noah Igbenogany was being shopped, or teams were interested? I shouldn't say. If he's being shopped, that would imply that the interest is on our side to move on from him versus teams calling the Commanders about Noah Igbenogany. That's different. We were actively shopping Brian Robinson Jr. That means we were calling teams and saying, hey, this guy is available, versus teams calling us saying, hey, We need cornerback help. Is Noah Igbenogany available? Now, shout out to my girl, Miss P, a.k.a. Playoff P, a.k.a. Miss Playoffs, a.k.a. Miss Perry. There's so many AKAs, I could be here for a while. Grab a Snickers, right? The legendary Miss P. Anyway, we were talking, and she's like, I hope this isn't true. And I'm like, I agree. But I threw a caveat out there. But first of all, never believe Diana Rossini. I think we've learned that lesson before, right? Like, there's a list of 150 people that you should trust before Diana Rossini. We're clear on that, right? So when it came from her, I was like, shit, he's fine. We're good, right? But because I said to you, I don't think we're done. I could see another trade. I said, this could be, I told you, I can't find the guy that has value if it's not on the defensive line. I can't find you another guy that has value. Well, Noah Igbenogany has value, but his value lies with us, right? He's that Honda Accord, right? He's that Honda Accord, that 2008 Honda Accord that's still going strong, that you're willing to sell, but they got to buy it at the price that you're selling it at. You're not going to take a low ball offer because the car is worth more to you because it still runs. You can still drive it than to just give it away to someone. And so I told the legendary Miss P, I'd do it for a 5th round pick. We don't currently have a 5th rounder. I'd do it for a 5th round pick. I'm not taking a 6th and I'm not taking a 7th. He's worth more to us on the roster, available as depth, than a 6th or a 7th round pick. We already got 2 6th round picks. I'm not trying to collect a whole bunch of 6th round picks. We got 2 of them already. You ask me, that's too many. Package those bitches up and get a 5. But I know our general manager wants more darts, not less. I get it. But if you're not trying to give me a 5 for Noah Igbenogany, I'm not interested. And Miss P was like, I don't even want the 5. You keep that shit. I want Noah Igbenogany here. She said, you trust Marshawn Lattimore to stay healthy for 18 weeks? I'm like, no, not exactly. But Noah Igbenogany ain't the first dude off the bench if something were to happen to any of our corners. Be Jonathan Jones. So you still got to go a little ways till you get to him. But I understand where she's coming from. And trust me, I'm a fan of the general. You know that. So I don't know if Noah Igbenogany is out of the woods yet. A trade can still happen tomorrow or the next day or the next day. So I'd keep an eye on that. I think he's safe with us, which is a good thing. But I don't put anything past Adam Peters. We did not get Noah Brown last year, I believe, until August the 27th, which was 2 days after the 53-man roster cut down. So I wouldn't put it past Adam Peters to make something shake. Remember, last year, after the 53-man roster was set, we then traded John Ridgway. He initially made our 53-man roster, and then 2 days later, they traded John Ridgway to the Saints. So Noah Igbenogany is not safe. Not yet, at least. Again, I'd be disappointed if they traded him for something less than a 5th round pick. If it's a 5th round pick, I'm cool. You're not getting anything more than a 5th round pick for him. I think someone's trying to get him for a 6th or a 7th. And if I'm Adam Peters, I'm not interested in that. He's worth more to us as depth. Because we've seen the other guys that were on the roster. It'd be one thing if one of these undrafted boys that we had on the roster showed up and showed out in camp, but it just was a numbers game. But you're like, hey, if we got to pull this, even if Kayvon Seymour, they probably would have been a lot more comfortable. I don't know if he's any good defensively. They loved him on special teams. If he was healthy, they might have kept, him around. But obviously he's out for the season. I think Noah's going to be safe, but I'm just, my antennas are up. My antennas are up. 25 defensive players, 25 offensive players. That's what I said it was going to be. The three specialists: Tressway, Matt Gay, Tyler Ott. I know Matt Gay's not your friend right now. You're not very happy with him right now. I think he's going to be just fine when it's all said and done. All right. So I'm going to take a stab at trying to decipher what the practice squad could potentially look like. I'm going to tell you, this is a horrible exercise, one that I don't recommend anyone else try to attempt to do. I probably myself should not have tried to attempt to do this. This is a bad exercise here. With what we watched this summer, none of us should be trying to decipher what 16 guys we wanted to pick out of the wreckage that was the 47 guys they cut. Okay? That's not a good group to be pulling 16 guys from. Maybe 5 to 7, maybe 8 guys from that group, not 16. Yet here I am trying to attempt to pull 16 guys out of a 8-player hat, basically. Right? Let's try and do it. So I see y'all talking about Noah in the comment section. Let me just say this. If you don't think Noah Igbenogany is a part of your future, which clearly they do not, because if they did, they'd stop signing him to one-year deals and sign him. He's a young player. I don't know how old Noah Igbenogany is, but I can tell you he's probably in his late 20s, 27, 28. Noah Igbenogany, I think, came in the league relatively young. He started his career in Miami, was drafted by the Dolphins in the first round. I do not think they picked up his fifth-year option. He ended up in Dallas for a year or two, and then he ended up here. Let's say he came into the league at 21. Say he spent 4 years in Miami, 2 years in Dallas. I don't know if he spent 2 years in Dallas or not. And then 2 years here, that would put him at 28, 29. I think he might have spent 1 year in Dallas and 2 years here, which would put him at 28. Whatever the number is, I know he's a young player. He's somewhere in that mid to late 20s range. He's not 30. He's not 29. I don't even think he's 28. I think he's somewhere between 25 and 27. That's where I think he is. If you thought he was a part of your future, because if he's 27 years old, that's young enough to give him a 2-year contract extension. If he's 26, that's good enough to give him a 2-3-year contract extension if you really like him. It's not going to cost you a lot. He's been with you now 3 years. He was with Quinn in Dallas. That's why he brought him here in the first place. And if you don't think highly enough of him to give him a multi-year extension, then he's not a part of your future. So if you can get a pick for a guy that you don't view as a part of your future, you won. A guy on a 1-year deal. If you can flip him for a 5th-round selection, a guy that, just think of it from this perspective. I know this is hard to process right now because you're in win now mode. As a fan, the season is next week. You don't give a shit about next year, the year after that. Yeah, I get that. I can think in terms of now and later too, right? Once we get into the season, you know how I get. Tunnel vision. I don't want to talk about no goddamn draft. None of that shit. How the hell we going to beat the damn Packers in week 2? That's all I want to talk about. And then the next week, how we going to beat the damn Raiders? I want to talk about shit else. You know how I am. But right now, I can talk to you and say, if you can swap out a guy that's on a 1-year deal for a guy that's going to be on a 4-year contract, what are we talking about? That's essentially what you would be doing. Swapping out a guy on a 1-year deal for a guy that's going to be making minimal money on a 4-year contract that you think can help you. But as I mentioned to you, not all rookies are created equal. I don't want a 6th-round rookie. Not interested in that. I'll take the 5th rounder, though. I'll take the 5th rounder. We don't have one of those currently. I'll take that one. Gave that up for Debo, right? Did we give up for Debo? Or did we give that up last year's draft for Debo? I think that was last year's draft. Anyway, we don't have a 5th-round pick, wherever the hell it went. I just know this. If they trade him and they get a 5th rounder, I'll be cool with that. If they trade him and they get something less than that, I'm not on board with that. I'm not on board with that. So let's go through the wreckage and try to pull out 16 names that make sense. There is not a single quarterback here that was here this summer that needs to be back on the practice squad. I'm still flummoxed as to how Josh Johnson is still here. But that's another story for another day. Sam Hartman, you're dismissed, right? He couldn't have played any worse if he tried this summer. So there's no quarterbacks currently on the practice squad. There may be one out there that gets cut. Would you guys be interested in Tommy DeVito as a backup here? Taylor Heineke got cut by the Chargers. Are you interested in bringing home the ageless wonder that is Taylor Heineke? Running back, Demetric Felton is who I have on the practice squad. They better not bring Kaz Allen's ass back. They better not bring Kaz Allen back on the practice squad. If they do, I don't care. I don't care if they do or not. But why? What are we doing here? I mean, end that experiment. Pull the plug, please. Stop it. Okay? Wide receiver, I think this is the position that has the most guys that you could bring back. Tay Martin, Ja'Cory Brooks, I feel like are both locks to be back. I also think they really want to take another look at Jacoby Jones. So I do think those 3 are locks. Well, not Jacoby Jones. The first 2 are locks. Jacoby Jones feels like a guy that is as close to a lock without being one as you can get. River Craycraft is a guy they added late. I think they were intentional in adding him late. I do not think he was a guy that ever had a chance to make the roster, but I do think that's a guy that they are interested in keeping around. They do see some sort of value in having him around. I do believe that. So I have River Craycraft as a guy that I think they are interested in keeping on the practice squad. Lawrence Cager at the tight end position, I think they're intrigued by his athleticism. I think they want to keep working with him. He looks like a receiver playing tight end, but he does have an elite trait, and that is catching the football and being able to separate from defenders. I think they want to continue to work with him and see if he can put on weight and keep it on while maintaining his athletic advantage. If he cannot do that, then they will move on from him. But I do think he has higher upside than guys like Cole Turner and the like that were around. So I do think Lawrence Cager is a guy that they may be interested in bringing back onto the practice squad. Timothy McKay is another guy that they brought here as an undrafted. They spent the most money on Timothy McKay. of all the undrafteds. Remember, he started with a pec injury, which is why he went undrafted. And so he didn't come back to practice until, well, maybe like 3 weeks ago. So it was a hard, uphill battle for him. He wasn't going to make the team regardless. He could have been perfectly healthy from day one, and he wasn't going to make this team. But at least they would have had a better sense of what he is. I don't think they've gotten a good enough feel for who he is yet. I think they want to see more. They bring him back on the practice squad. I also put Foster Sorrell on the practice squad. And I could easily see Michael Dieter being on the practice squad if he doesn't get signed. But I put Foster Sorrell here. And maybe he's not necessary. But I always feel like you want to have a tackle. And he's supposed to be a swing tackle on the practice squad. So there's that. Defensive line, you got a bunch of old heads. I probably overdid it with the old heads. Probably need some youth in that room of the practice squad guys. But Jalen Holmes, Sheldon Day, and Carl Davis are all practice squatters for me. They're all practice squatters for me. So I don't know if they would go with that many old heads on the D-line. But it felt like they did it last year. I could be wrong. Felt like they had a bunch of old heads on the D-line on the practice squad last year. Maybe they didn't. Linebacker, I got Duke Riley and Cam Arnold. I think Duke Riley is gone. I don't think they're going to bring him back. But again, I was reaching. It was hard for me to come up with 16 guys that were worthy. Cam Arnold is an undrafted out of Boston College. That I think they want to continue to take a look at. I didn't see much from him in the preseason, though, to be honest with you. I think they really like Antonio Hamilton Sr. He was a late addition. And I thought he played hard. I think they liked what he brought to the table. DQ even mentioned him by name as a guy that they liked on special teams as well. I think he's one of the few corners that they might actually want back. I liked Isang Bassi personally, but they cut him. He was among the first cuts that they made yesterday. So if they cut you on the first day, that means you ain't coming back on the practice squad. So hold on a second. Yeah. So then you get to safety. Darryl Worley and Rob McDaniel. Now, Worley, again, late addition, came in, played physically. I could see him just being a guy that they brought in here to eat up reps in the summertime, and they aren't interested in him being around. I thought he played well enough for them to feel like that's a good veteran to have around. And then Rob McDaniel, obviously young guy they were interested in as an undrafted. Thought he flashed a couple of times during the preseason. I assume they want to continue to see what he's capable of. So you keep him around and continue to work with him and see if there's anything there, right? That's the 16 guys, right? That's it. Again, it's not an inspiring list, that's for sure. You know, it's not an inspiring list. But as always, there's a UCLA Bruin on the list, and I wouldn't be shocked if Kaz Allen's funky ass is back because he's a Bruin as well. But as always, there's at least one UCLA Bruin around on the practice squad. So I digress. Let's get to the comment section. And quick update. Tomorrow, I believe the Commanders Kings will be back. Don't hold me to that, but I believe we will be live tomorrow night. Got to check and confirm with the fellas. Thursday, massive toast to the season. So I know I've had a toast already, but Terry's back now. Michael Dieter's gone. There's cause for celebration. I feel like this is going to be a hell of a season. We're going to have so much fun. And part of me feels so guilty that a lot of you didn't get to partake in the toast to the season at the live event. So what I'm going to do is we're going to have a toast, one final big toast to bring everybody in. Terry's here now. It felt incomplete. The first toast felt incomplete because we didn't have our guy, right? We didn't have our guy. Our guy is now back. Now everybody's at the table. There was an empty seat there. We were toasting, but there was an empty seat there, and it didn't feel right. And there was Michael Dieter over there saying, "Thank you for making me right, Jaden." And now his ass is gone, and I don't have that noise like a damn fly buzzing in my ear and shit. So this is going to be a proper toast is what I'm trying to tell you. So we're going to toast to the season on Thursday. So let's have some fun. NFC East Super Friends. A lot of people have been asking me about it. At the live event, people were asking me about it. So our schedules just haven't been aligning. We were supposed to go on August the 19th. Law schedule did not allow it to happen. We were then going to go 2 days later on the 21st, which, if I'm not mistaken, was it was the 20th. We were going to go on I think it was the 18th, either the 18th or the 19th. And law schedule didn't allow for it. Then we were going to go on the 20th, which was that Thursday, and Bad Dog schedule didn't allow for it. So I think it was the 18th because it was a Tuesday, then it was a Thursday. Then we pushed it to the next week, which was this week. And this week just wasn't good really for anyone. And LB really wasn't good for him. So now we're pushing it to next week. It feels like Tuesday is going to be the day next week. It's going to be a big one because we haven't chopped it up in quite some time. We haven't done our predictions for the season. You got Cowboys and Eagles literally 2 days after Tuesday. So there's tons to talk about. So hopefully it's Tuesday. I stopped making you guys promises with the NFC East Super Friends because, again, it's been so helter-skelter with schedules. You got 4 different creators for 4 different fan bases with 4 different things going on in their life. And it's just tough. It's tough. So hopefully we'll be all able to get together next week and make it happen. It's not for a lack of trying. There's nothing wrong with us. There's nobody beefing or anything like that. It's just our schedules just have, like, I've even been an issue because there have been times where they're like, "Hey, everybody's good for this day." And I'm like, well, that's not a good day for me. And I'm going to be honest with you, and I'm going to be fully transparent with y'all because y'all my people. I used to bend over backwards for those dudes to try to accommodate them, to try to get shit done. But you get to a point where I feel like I'm putting in all this effort and this work to make shit work. And my efforts aren't being reciprocated. And hell, sometimes it doesn't even feel appreciated. So you get to a point where you just like, it is what it is. It's whatever. Y'all ready to do it. And I'm available. Cool. If I'm not moving stuff around my schedule to accommodate y'all anymore. That's kind of where I'm at with mine right now. So, I ain't gonna hold you. In the past, we probably would have got a show off already because I would have cleared shit out for them. Not doing that no more. When it's convenient for me, we can rock. If it's not, oh well. That's where I'm at with it. So hopefully Tuesday's good for everybody. And it feels like it is. Everybody's locked in for Tuesday right now, but we were locked in 2 weeks ago and then we weren't. So we'll see, right? Anyway, let's get to the comment section. Frankie, yo, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, seeing Dieter get cut had me going. Thank you for making it right, AP. Thank you for making it right, AP. I love it. That's what we call addition by subtraction. Indeed. Cheers to that. We're going to cheers to Michael Dieter not being on the roster. That man was a massive liability last year. A massive one. Mr. Pink. Shout out to my guy, Mr. Pink, man. Once again, thank you for the hardware, Mr. Pink. Really appreciate you. My guy, I'm so glad you made it home safely. I saw your message, that all of the craziness that happened, but you made it back home to the West Coast safely, man. And thank God for that. So glad to hear from you. Really appreciate you. And had a great time chopping it up, talking with you, bro. Says Terry. Hey, man, it felt so good to watch that video of Terry walking in with his wife, the smiles on their face. It felt good to watch the tribute video to Terry, which I told you that shit gave me chills. I went back into our group text with the Kings, and I was like, that Terry vid that they got on IG, that shit gave me chills. And Rio was like, yeah, that shit slapped. Yeah, he's like, that shit hit hard. So it's just good to be in a good place with a guy that deserves to be in a good place. You know what I mean? Like, Terry ain't done nothing to nobody, man. You know, and I get it. It's business. That ain't got nothing to do with nothing. It's just, we human. You get attached to people that do it the right way, you know? And you just want to see people that do it the right way, treat it the right way. And again, they didn't do anything that generally doesn't happen in negotiations to Terry. There's no, you saw that hug with him and Adam Peters. There ain't no hard feelings. It's business. But like John Allen said when he was here, it's hard for business to not turn personal. We humans. It's hard for that shit not to turn personal. For you not to take it personal. Art by Rapid. Stand up. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB and blessing a new member to this illustrious mob. We really appreciate you, Art by Rapid. And shout out to the newest member of the MOBB. Welcome to the squad, courtesy of Art by Rapid. Shout out to my guy, Art by Rapid, for blessing a brand new membership to the squad. EGK Paints. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Once again, it was so nice to meet you and chop it up with you guys. I would have stayed longer. I was enjoying our conversation. I really would have stayed longer, but my ride was like, time to go, bro. So it was time to get out of there, but I was really enjoying talking to you guys. Said Scary Terry. Florin McLaurin. I love it. However he gets it done, he's here. Hashtag Leo to Leo. My fellow Leo. I knew there was a reason why I liked you. Why there was a instant bond with you. Makes sense now. You can always feel it, right? He's here. That's the biggest part about the Terry situation, is he's back and he's ready. You could tell he ready to get out there and put belt to ass. Week 1. It's going to be fun. Khalil Young, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Khalil writes, Bill, they changed for the jersey. 32 is ugly, maybe 8, 13, etc. I'm down for all of that. What KJ was 13, right? I'm down for either one of those. 13, that's a nasty running back number. I think a running back did have 13, but that shit's nasty. I'm trying to think of who that running back was. I can't remember. What number did Maurice Clarett wear at Ohio State? It was a double-digit number, too. And I feel like it wasn't 13, though, was it? I thought it was something in the teens, though. I don't think it was 13. Was it? Somebody wore 13 as a running back. That's not a cool running back number. 8 would be fine. 8 is cool with me. Frankie, yo. Stand up. You, my man, are in the building, blessing 5 new members with entry into the squad. So glad to have you be so generous with the memberships. Hopefully you're blessing 5 deserving and worthy individuals. I've seen in the past where blessings have been given out to Eagles fans, and then you wonder why they're in some of these chats and some of these, mob exclusive events. And you're like, how the hell they get in here? Because somebody gifted them some memberships and just started blessing some random folks. This feels like a pretty safe stream to be blessing people, in and having it get to the right people. So shout out to you, Frankie, yo, for gifting 5 memberships and blessing members into the squad. Really appreciate you. Thank you so much. And welcome to the 5 newest members of the MOBB, courtesy of Frankie, yo. Really appreciate you. Haval, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, Lou, I'm happy Cajo made the team. The kid balled out and was this year's TO/Yankoff. He was. Absolutely. He was this year's Tyler Owens / Coastal Yankoff. McGee best stay healthy because that kid Cajo is coming. Now, if I would have said that, y'all would have tried to come after me. But I know what you mean. I'm not even going to play that game. I agree with you. We need Jordan McGee to stay healthy, but if he doesn't, at least there's another young linebacker that you like, hey, let's see what he can do. He ain't the same type of athlete as Jordan McGee, though. But I think he could be even more instinctual than him. We'll see. My money's on McGee. I ain't even gonna hold you, but I agree with you. Cajo earned that spot, and I think he is a guy that is worth keeping an eye on. Like, he's not going to be active week 1 against the Giants, Ale Cajo, and he probably won't be active most of the year. And I said this on my Bleacher Report quick hit that I believe Cajo is the guy that will go much faster than slow when Sam Cosmi is ready to be activated off the PUP list. Somebody's got to give up their roster spot. When that happens, Ale Cajo might be the candidate for that to happen. Then you slide him onto the practice squad. And maybe they felt it was a little bit dangerous to do it right now. And maybe you can try and slide him through waivers quietly once the season starts. There's no such thing. If you got a good GM, there's no such thing as a quiet waiver transaction. I'm checking the waiver wire every year to make sure somebody didn't just get released that I thought was really interesting that I need to put a waiver claim for. So I don't know if you're going to be able to sneak him through waivers, but he feels like the guy, if Josh Johnson is still here, could be Josh Johnson. But it feels like Cajo is the guy that might get cut when Sam Cosmi's roster spot is ready to be activated. Ant-Man, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Ant-Man writes, evening, Lou. What's going on, Ant-Man? Hope all is well. Likewise. Anytime you need an extra hand at any live event in the future, whether that's food or venue setup, holla at me. Feeling really good about this final roster. Okay, I'll keep that in mind, Ant-Man. Really appreciate you. I too feel good about this roster. I've said this numerous times. I'll put our first 30 to 35 players on the roster up against anybody's in the league because we have 5. And it's not like our first 30 to 35 aren't talented, because they are. It's not as talented as some teams in the league, but it's up there. I feel good about our frontline talent. I feel good about our first 4 receivers, right? I feel good about our entire receiver room minus Luke right now. And I still think Luke's going to be better than a lot of you think. But I just haven't seen it, so I can't say that I trust it yet, right? But I've seen Luke run past dudes and just not get the ball. I've seen Luke open a ton last year, not get the football. So I know he's capable. He came up huge on a 4th down last year against Cincinnati that helped really spark that game. Remember, that's the first possession of the game. They scored on their first possession a touchdown. You don't complete that pass and they get the ball back, they score again, you're en route to an ass whooping in week 2. Instead, Luke plucks that bitch out of the air, which was not for him, takes off and almost scores. He got talent, man. He got talent. I like our receiver room. I think our running back room is very diverse. I don't love our running back room, but it's diverse. And if Bill is what I think he could be an X factor for that entire room. We know what Eck brings to the table. We know what J-Mac is. We'll see what C-Rod does now that he's not getting tired, bodies in the 3rd and 4th quarters of games where he can take advantage. Now let's see what he's doing against defenses in the 1st and 2nd quarter when they out there fresh and ready to get after it. I think the tight end room is solid. It's not great, but I know what I'm getting from them. There's not a lot of variance there. Like, the running back room could be really good or it could be really bad. This tight end room, I already know what I'm getting. I'm getting good, stable production. I know what I'm getting out of that group. Offensive line has a chance to be, it's starting the season outside of the top 10, maybe even outside of the top 15. That's fine by me. By season's end, this group has a chance to be a top 10 offensive line. Defensive line is deep. It's a solid crew. I don't think it's an elite group by any stretch of the imagination, but I think it's going to play well together. Linebacker, I will say, lacks real, true, reliable depth. After the first 2 guys, you can't count on another linebacker in that room right now. You got 2nd year, rookie. Again, that's very questionable. Cornerback. I think it's the best cornerback group in the NFC. I've said this already. And I think it's the 4th best cornerback room in the NFL. So you know how high I am on that group. And safety, that's a big question mark for me still. I like Quan Martin. I think I'm on the verge of loving Quan. We'll see. I don't know Will Harris, but I love the play he made against Cincinnati on the first possession. Thought that was an excellent play. Revo has been flying around. Percy made a nice play on a tackle behind the line of scrimmage. We'll see what this group looks like. And our specialists are good, and let's see what Matt Gay does if he can turn it up once the season hits. But I like our group. I feel really good about him. And I dare anybody to find a better, more competent 1-2 punch at the quarterback position. Should you need your backup, I think you're hard pressed to find a better backup quarterback in the league than Marcus Mariota. There's some really solid backups, but Marcus, he liked that. He showed us that last year, especially in this Cliff Kingsbury offense that really fits and is suited to his skill set, right? It's tailored to his skill set. I'll take our guys over anybody else's. Feel good. It's when you start having to tap into the Javonte John Baptistes of the world on the back end of that roster. It's when you got to start relying on Johnny Newton on the back end of that roster right now, or Eddie Goldman for that matter, where you're like, uh-oh, that's not good, right? So, yeah, I like this team too. I said all that to say this. If we're healthy, we're dangerous. Or as a wise man once said, if we're well, we're hell. Navy Ramjet, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Navy Ramjet, thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Writes, blessings to you and the family. Appreciate that. Likewise to you and yours. AP is partial to his UCLA guys like I am to the Samoan Polynesian players. Ain't nothing wrong with it, man. All I ask is that if you're going to do that, you are within your right to do that. Just make sure it doesn't come at the expense of somebody that actually deserves the spot. If you got a roster that it ain't shit on the roster anyway, then knock yourself out. Do whatever you want. You know, and that's why I'm not making a big stink out of it. It's the practice squad. If they want to bring back Kaz Allen, go ahead. Because frankly, there wasn't shit there anyway. And that's why I said I don't care. Demetric Felton, I don't care. You know, he's a UCLA guy. I don't care. Go ahead. I don't care. Because as I told you, there weren't 16 guys that needed to be back here. Our summer roster was ass. And we watched it play out over 3 games while we were outscored by damn near 100 points. I don't need to see these guys back again. But somebody's got to be on your practice squad. And if you're not getting a bunch of guys that were cut from other teams and bringing them here, hey, if you want to bring back Kaz Allen, knock yourself out. You're going to bring back Demetric Felton, go ahead, knock yourself out. But don't lie to me and tell me all 7 of these running backs could play on an NFL roster this year. Don't nobody want Kaz Allen, old basic ass. Don't nobody want Kaz Allen. Don't sit here and tell me those stories to my face. Kyle will be Luvu in 2 years, or give me a Samoan wrestler or baller all day. Hashtag raise hell. He could be. I'm pretty sure the Jets didn't think Frankie Luvu would turn into what he ultimately turned into in Carolina and ultimately here in Washington. That could be Ale Cajo. I agree with you on Samoan and Pop. They play harder. They just built different. I don't necessarily disagree with that. John Perez, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy, JP, writes, Lou, good to see you as always. Likewise, JP. We finally got Terry back, which is massive. Indeed it is. It was just good to see him back in the building. All smiles. I also wish I was at that live show. Commanders fans are scarce here in New Jersey. Yeah, you're surrounded by a bunch of New Yorkers. So, yeah, that's rough. There'll be more events. I'd love to see you in the building, my man. Maybe you and Ed can talk about how the air is up there. You know, maybe you guys can have a great conversation about that. But Looking forward to chopping it up with you in person, JP. So hopefully you can make that happen the next time around. It's him, Mega. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Shout out to my guy, Mega. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. It was, speaking of meeting people, it was so good to meet my guy, Megs. It was so good to meet my guy, Megs. You still owe me another drink too, bro. You ain't slick. I took the shot. You ate the cookie, and I said, hey, yeah, what happened to my other drink? And you just left me. You bounced on me. You did come back and holler at me before you left, though. I appreciate you for that. So I ain't have to come looking for you. My guy Megs writes, Lou, whole time them vegan cookies was good. But look, man, I tried to tell you, and you tried to play me. I don't want no damn vegan cookies. I'm like, all right, how about this? I'll take the shot right now. Because I was going to sip the shot. First of all, them weren't real shots. Those were drinks they were serving, okay? First of all, the cup was this goddamn big, this big, right? And in the shot, they filled the shit up to this high. So it's already a wider cup. And then they filled the bitch up this high. I'm not drinking all that shit at once. Or at least that wasn't my plan. Then Mega comes over, doesn't want to eat the cookie, but wants me to take the shot. So I took the shot. He had to eat the cookie, but I'm like, hey, what about my other drink? He was like, get out of here. Tried to sleep on my cookie. You ate that cookie and you walked away and said, God damn, this shit good as a bitch. I kept telling y'all, stop sleeping. It's good. It was good to see you, bro. It was great to see you. Video channel. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy, video channel writes, Lou, give us your week 1 inactives. So 7 guys have to be inactive. All right. So I think I got the roster memorized at this point. So let's go through it. Right now, I still don't even think Josh Johnson is going to be on the roster come week 1, but fine, whatever. He's inactive for sure because he doesn't have to be active. He can be the emergency quarterback without being active. So that's 1, right? I think all 4 of the running backs are going to be active, even though I could see one of them not being active. Could definitely see that being the case. If you're going to if one of them is going to be inactive, I feel like it's C-Rod. You don't need Chris Rodriguez. If Bill is what you think he is, X still going to be X, and McNichols is definitely active because he's a Swiss Army knife. What are we doing, right? So if we need one more, I'm coming back for C-Rod. But right now, I'm going to leave him alone. All 5 receivers are active. All 4 tight ends are active. Okay. So let's see. How many are we up to? Right now, we've got 25 on offense, only 1 inactive. Let's go through the offensive line because clearly all of them aren't going to be active. Let's see. On game day, you usually have your 5 starters, a swing tackle, and 2 extra offensive linemen, right? So I would say that Trent Scott is active. Andrew Wiley, I don't think is going to start. I think Josh Conley is going to start. So Wiley, Alec already starting. So Wiley, Trent Scott, and I guess Chris Paul. Honestly, you probably go into the game with just 7 linemen, right? Probably could get away with 7. So we'll do that. We'll go with 7 right now. Because push comes to shove. If something happens to your center, Allegretti kicks over. If something happens to your tackle, Coleman can kick out there if he needs to, but you would first go to Wiley. And if something happened again, then you could go with Coleman and then insert Trent Scott. So They may go 8 though. I'll come back if I need another one, but for now, we'll go with 8. And if I got to take away somebody, I'll take away Paul and put him active. So I think normally on game days you go with 7 offensive linemen though. So let's see. We had 2 offensive players. Defensively, you rolling with the entire D-line. I don't think any of those guys are inactive. The whole D-line is active. Linebacker, Ale Cajo is inactive. So all the other 5 are active. Corner, all 5 are active. Safety, all 5 are active. So I am going to have to go back. So Ale Cajo's definitely inactive. You're going 7 linemen. So Chris Paul and George Fant are inactive. That's 3. Josh Johnson is inactive. That's 4. Chris Rodriguez is inactive. That's 5. I think the number is 46, right? So you would have 2 more guys. I don't know where you get those other 2 guys at, honestly. Because you're going all 9 of those defensive linemen are good. K Madrano is interesting. You could probably sit K Madrano down too. If Jordan McGee's healthy, those 4 linebackers are good. You got 5 safeties. You got 5 corners. That would be 6. I don't know where you get the other guy though. That's tough. That's tough. That's tough. They'd have to sit someone down, obviously, but that's tough. I mean, push came to shove, it'd be Colson Yankoff, obviously. They love him on special teams, but or if you love him that much, dare I say Ben Sinnott. I don't see them doing that to Ben Sinnott. It'd be Yankoff before it's Sinnott. But oh, there you go. Good call. Javante John Baptiste is inactive. There you go. Good call, Haval. It'd be Javante John Baptiste. That's the one. He doesn't have to play. He doesn't have to play. So you go with 8. 4 edges and 4 defensive tackles. There you have it. Because Colson Yankoff's got to be active. There's no way. So the guys would be Josh Johnson, C-Rod, Chris Paul, and George Fant. That's 4. Ale Cajo, K Madrano, Javante John Baptiste. There's your 7. So Ninja X, stand up. You are the newest member of the MOBB. Thank you for joining the most exclusive squad in all the land. Mob, you know what to do. Show So Ninja X some love. Welcome with open arms. Welcome to the squad. So Ninja X. Going Commando. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Going Commando. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Writes, sup, Lou? Sup, Going Commando? Thinking it's a double O time. I, among others, were chastised for preferring C-Rod over B-Rob last year. Feeling validated. I mean, if you want to take a victory lap, go right ahead. I'm not going to stop you. I'm not giving up no double O for that because I still think B-Rob is the better player of the 2. That's not going to change for me. I've said this, and I'm going to continue to say this. Chris Rodriguez is the more natural runner. He's got a better feel for the position. He's got better fluidity. His feet are better for a bigger guy. Like, he has a more natural feel, but he's not a better athlete than Brian Robinson Jr. And physically, I don't think he is as good as Brian Robinson Jr. is in certain areas of his game. But he's going to get an opportunity. I want to see what he does with the opportunity, because he always, this is the one thing I got to give Chris Rodriguez credit for it. He's made the most of every single opportunity he's gotten. Again, a lot of his opportunities, and this is what people fail to, acknowledge when they talk about him. When they start pulling out these random ass numbers and they look great for C-Rod, I'm like, yeah, but man almost ran for 100 yards against a defeated Titans team in the fourth quarter. Yep, man came in a nothing burger game against the Jets in the second half when we were down by 20 points, 27-7, and started doing work. I watched this dude come into games and absolutely dominate when there wasn't shit on the line. The only game I've ever seen him play in where shit was on the line and it mattered was the Falcons game. And guess what? He didn't have killer numbers in that game. He had a really good catch, and we were great. We were grateful for that because he don't really catch it well. And he had a great touchdown that was from like 3 yards out, but he made somebody miss to get into the end zone. Something that B-Rob would not have done. I will give you that. But we're going to find out how good he is. But if you want to take that victory lap, go right ahead. I'm not going to stop you at all. I'm not going to stop you. So Ninja X, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB who writes, "What up, Lou Berg?" I see somebody said that. It might have been you. Somebody said Lou Berg when they saw the post from the live event. I'm iffy on whether or not Josh Johnson deserves to be a Redskin and a Commander. I hope he's good karma. He tried for us. Hashtag HTTR, hashtag HTTC. He was a good Redskin. He is not a good Commander. And remember, he was a much younger man then. That was 2018 when he was here the last time. That was what? 6 years ago. He was 33 years old. Totally different guy then. He could actually run back then. This almost 40-year-old version doesn't want to run, and it seems like mentally he's regressed. So, yeah, I'm good. I'm good on Josh Johnson. I am flummoxed as to why he's even here. Flummoxed. But we'll see. So that's the last super chat. I'm intrigued to see what everything looks like tomorrow because there's practice tomorrow. Practice, not a game, but practice. Yeah, there's practice. We'll hear from DQ for the first time. I think we'll hear from both DQ and Adam Peters tomorrow as they've officially cut this roster down to 53. We'll get the explanation for some of the things that were done. We'll also hear from newly extended wide receiver Terry McLaurin tomorrow. I'm looking forward to hearing from our guy and getting back to a level of normalcy that these press conferences have lacked since the whole Terry thing kind of exploded in late July. So looking forward to seeing if the Commanders make any moves tomorrow. Because again, I think this roster is incomplete. I think Josh Johnson's roster spot is up for grabs. And I'm not sure if Ale Cajo is going to be here. I think he's going to be around on the practice squad, but I don't think he's a safe bet necessarily to remain on this roster. Again, he could be a placeholder for Sam Cosmi, and they could look to do nothing with him. Noah Igbenogany is a guy that I would keep an eye on. Someone is desperate after combing through all of the cuts, and there's nothing out there that another team is interested in. I could see a team saying, all right, you twisted my arm. I'll give you the 5th round pick. And just like that, Noah Igbenogany's gone, and we got to go out on the streets and find us because it ain't Antonio Hamilton Sr. That's for damn sure. We got to go out on the streets and find us a competent NFL corner. And I saw Mike Hilton got cut. I wanted Mike Hilton like 4-5 years ago. I don't want Mike Hilton now. Okay. Yeah. So many people get caught up in what guys once were in their name and not what they are at present day. There's a reason why Mike Hilton got cut and is available. So I'm more interested in a younger corner that, may have some upside. But again, let's hope that Noah Igbenogany just remains here. Again, I'm open to a trade if and only if you can net a 5th round pick or greater. Which again, you're not getting anything more than a 5th. You're probably not getting anything more than a 6th for Noah Igbenogany. So unless somebody's willing to give me something that I don't think you're willing to give up, he should stay here, remain here, and be a part of what I think has a chance to be the best cornerback room in the entire conference. So, Energy Mac and Cheese. Stand up. You are the newest member of the MOBB mob. You know what to do. Show Energy Mac and Cheese some love. Welcome them with open arms. Welcome to the squad. Energy Mac and Cheese. So, quick question I want to pose to all of you. Week 1, we hit the field. All 4 running backs are active. Who's the starting running back? And we can use that term loosely. Who gets the most carries in that game? And it may be the type of game that determines who gets the most carries. But who's out there first? Who's out there getting the bulk of the carries early and often? Who's that guy for you? Because we still don't know. I think the biggest enigma on this roster right now, C-Rod could be your week 1 starter. C-Rod could be on the practice. C-Rod could be inactive week 1. That's how far-ranging and wide-ranging the C-Rod dilemma is on the spectrum of, oh, no, C-Rod could get 17 carries in week 1, or C-Rod could be inactive in week 1. I'm really intrigued by that whole running back situation. Because before, there was a clear pecking order. Now the shit feels up for grabs. It feels up for grabs. I still maintain this is Bill's job. This is Bill's job. But let's see what happens, right? T. Henry 23. Stand up. You are the newest member of the MOBB mob. You know what to do. Show T. Henry some love. Welcome him with open arms. Man, you're right on time. Energy Mac and Cheese, y'all right on time. All the new members that were blessed tonight, y'all right on time. Shit's about to be on and popping. Welcome to the squad, T. Henry. Looking forward to chopping it up with all of y'all this season. So, I digress. I'm looking at the comment section. It feels split. I see a lot of C-Rod is RB1. I see a lot of Bill is RB1. I think that's a real conversation. Not that it matters. Again, it really doesn't matter, right? I don't give a shit who's scoring, who's kicking ass as long as we kicking ass. But I just think it's going to be Bill. But I could also see them being on that, he's a rookie. We don't want to overwork him. They've been putting a black non-contact jersey on him. I could easily see them saying, nah, we're going to let C-Rod get out there and get after it first. Work you into this mix, and then eventually we're going to turn you loose, which we thought was going to be the plan all along. And then B-Rob got out of here, and it just was like, all hell broke loose. Turned into helter-skelter, and you're like, oh, shit. We'll see. Oh, shit. We'll see. Anyway, I digress. You guys get out of here. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Tomorrow, I think we will have Commanders Kings live. If not tomorrow, then definitely Thursday. We're gonna have a toast on Thursday, so I'm gonna try to see if I can set up the Kings for tomorrow, and then the toast on Thursday, and then pretty much after that, you already know what it is. We're about to start getting it on and popping. It's gonna be Labor Day weekend. College football got a big one, right? Texas, Ohio State. Didn't get much bigger than that to kick off the college football season. I know week 0 was this past week, but shit is going to be crazy. So Labor Day weekend, some good college football. Most of y'all probably off Friday and Monday, 4-day weekend. Live it up. I'll talk to you before then, so I ain't got to talk your head off about it right now. Anyway, y'all have a good one. Enjoy the rest of your night. Rosters have been trimmed down to 53. Not too many surprises. Just two. Josh Johnson, Ali Cajo. A trade potentially? Noah Igbenogany? Didn't happen. Don't necessarily want it to happen, but I'm listening. You better have a 5 for me. If you got a 5 on it, then I'm listening. If not, bye-bye. He's ours. Terry back in the building to sign his contract. All good vibes, man. Celebrate. We feel whole and complete once again. We'll be toasting to that on Thursday. Anyway, you guys get out of here. Have a great rest of your night, and I will see you guys next time. You know what it is. Post up. Take command. God bless. Good night.